Bruh, True Jude tapping in with you, the host for the voice of Zion. Yeah, we gonna keep on working that in, y'all. I'm getting used to that still. The host of the voice of Zion. Look, I had a very blessed day today. I hope y'all did too. Once again, I'm a little later than I would have liked to be, but we're gonna take full advantage of the sunlight that we have today. We're gonna take full advantage of it for this live stream. I actually been taking full advantage of it. That's why I was outside today. And I had to change my work clothes and everything like that. But I had a blessed day today, y'all. Some was led to some very cool places on my land out here that I'd never seen before. I never had the chance to access, and I was out there doing some tilling and turning over the soil today because we had a rain a couple days ago, and I like to take advantage whenever we have a rain out here to keep the soil rotated and fresh and to keep everything nutrient wise on the up and up. And there was a lot of signs given to me today just about some projects that I should really consider. And I mean, these signs kept on coming. They kept coming. I was out there tilling my ground today back there. Ground I've been tilling since I got here. And would you believe that this little glass jar, it popped up? And what's crazy is earlier today, I got these emails from these companies I did business with a year or two ago in regards to packaging and in regards to bottles. Bottles you could put um your oils and stuff inside. And like, I saved these. I saved this email for later. Didn't think nothing of it. Went outside to work today, weed whacking and that sort of thing, keep the grass low. And I got to tilling because, like I said, we just had a rain a couple days ago, and I want to take advantage of the softness of the soil and make sure that if we have more sunny days, that soil doesn't get cooked into a hard clay-like substance. Because I got a mixture, and so as I'm tilling the land, opening it back up, all of a sudden, this little glass jar pops up. And I mean, I could have been hit this thing months ago, and I never did. And it's right there. And what's so wild about this glass jar is as I took it out the ground, it was covered with wet soil. It had liquid inside of it still. And the where the top, the lid will go, the top, it definitely takes like a cork lid. It was filled with dirt. And as I moved the dirt, there was liquid in it. I began pouring the liquid out, and as I turned the bottle upside down, I saw this inscription at the bottom, and it had a symbol. I don't know what the symbol is yet. And then it had a date, 1845. 1845, y'all. It was on the bottom of the jar, 1845. So I'm like, whoa. Then I got a waste pond on my property. Okay. So in the country, you don't really deal with sewage. A sewage company don't come to your land. You got a big old humongous waste pond. And every year fill up with fresh water and fresh rain, right? And then that mix up all the waste and everything, and then boom, it dissipates. So I went there back by the waste pond, and remember last week during Tabernacles, I told you how I was kind of concerned about what trees to cut down, right? Because there's a lot of healthy trees out here, and I ain't never been in a position to actually be cutting down trees. So I prayed on it, and sure enough, the Most High sent these beavers to the land and they've been chopping down trees. Well, they chopped down all the trees that me and my boys use for the tabernacles. I go back there today, them beavers did a number. They chopped down almost every tree except the big pine back there. They leave the pine alone, but they chopped down all this other timber. So as I'm looking at the timber, I'm like, whoa, I hear the Holy Spirit saying, walk back there. So I'm walking. I ain't never been back here before because all the trees was in the way. Now all of a sudden I got a clear path. So I'm walking. and I'm just following the spirit, y'all. Then I get led to a barbed wire fence that's on the property that I hadn't seen. Well, there's this big tree. The beavers fell, and it fell right on the top wire of the barbed wire, as if to say, because the fence is all immaculate, except for this place where the tree done fell. So, I'm a tall brother, so I was able to just walk over the part that was bent down for me. It's like, keep on walking, son. So I walk over over the barbed wire fence. I don't gotta jump over it, get stuck, nothing. I just walk smooth over it because this tree is on top of it now. So I walk over that. I'm steady walking, and I see how the land is dipping. So I'm like, huh. So I walk back there to the dip, and then I look, y'all. It was like walking through the closet into Narnia or someplace, the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe or something. I look, it's a huge river back there, y'all. A huge river. Part of it was dried up. The other part had these inlets around it, and then an island area. And I'm looking down. I walked into it. As I'm looking down into it, all these beautiful stones. I'm like, what? I never knew this was back here, y'all. So I'm walking, and I'm like, whoa, this river go this way, and it snake around. Then as I'm walking, y'all, please tell me why I find another glass jar. This one was clear. The first one was brown. This one was clear. The Most High work in twos, show you signs in twos, give you messages in twos, will have prophets come to you in twos. Where two or more are gathered in his name, that's where the spirit is in the midst of, the spirit is in the midst of those people. So I got to look and I said, wow, 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 this is a sign, a sign, a sign. So it put something on my heart as far as the project is concerned. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. So I stopped weed whacking at that time, and then I got back to it, and that pushed my time back a little bit as far as when I wanted to start this live stream. I actually wanted to start it around 3:30, 4 o'clock today, but it's okay. Everything happens how it's supposed to happen, and I'm perfectly fine with that. Um, Today we're gonna continue building up brothers, building up righteous brothers for marriage. We're gonna continue this series. And it's funny because as I was working today, I thought about an acronym, the B.U.R.B.S. The B.U.R.B.S, building up righteous brothers. The B.U.R.B.S. Oh, snap. So y'all work with me on that one. I don't know how y'all feel about that one, but I was going to acronym it. The B.U.R.B.S. How y'all wondering, what's the B.U.R.B.S, brother? Building up righteous brothers. So that's what we're going to call it from now on, the B.U.R.B.S. And in the B.U.R.B.S, things that we still got to cover before we actually talk about the different types of marriages that are permissible in the Torah, in the Tanakh, in the Bible. Something was placed on my heart last evening and early this rising in regards to what I want to talk about today. Because when we talk about brotherhood and we talk about being men of the Most High, and we talking about finally getting to a place where we can stand on our own too as men, and we don't need the partners and the boys around us and all of that sort of thing. From my own experience, I can tell you what it means to be a lone wolf, and that you have to find your solace. You have to really find your connection with the Most High. It's very important. When you do that, you'll learn more about yourself. You'll learn things about yourself that you never probably paid attention to or never realized. And that's only going to happen when you take a chance on trusting the Most High. I think every man who's actually working in manhood is going to come to a point where they recognize that the partners, the homies, friends, the comrades, the yes men, all of that has to go. You have to, excuse me, y'all, I'm fixing my mustache tongue to go up in my mouth. You have to come to a point where you have to realize that you're really not a lone wolf. What it is you just don't have all the distractions around you in the form of different energies that might seek to pull you away from your responsibilities, pull you away from your purpose, double cross you, set you up, backdoor you, all that sort of thing. You got to be cognizant of this. You have to really pay attention to the energy that you give and the energy that you receive, right? And one of the best ways to do that is to separate yourself, really begin that walk with the Most High for yourself. You got to learn how to find those places of solace that you can go to in order to marinate, reflect, meditate, and pray. Sing songs of praise. Get into deep thought. Envision a future for yourself based off of what is placed on your heart in hopes that it is in alignment with the Most High's divine will over your life. And it's very difficult to do that when you or your partners is worried about how many points Steph Curry scored on a particular evening, or how many rebounds LeBron didn't got, or how much closer he is to this record or that record. So it can get very difficult when you worried about what another man is doing. Okay. Now, in this sense, I heard what I just said. We have to get to a point where, when I say that statement, worried about what another man is doing, I'm talking about if another man is living his purpose, but his purpose is distracting you from your purpose, then you shouldn't be worried about what another man is doing. Okay. Now, if you are learning something, like in this case, and a brother is helping you, attempting to help you along in your journey, then your journey is being cross paths with the brother who's trying to help you or attempting to help you. So your purposes in that moment are aligned for your future. Okay. And this is why I don't want to waste your time. Um, Yesterday, before we signed out, I referred to the fruits of the spirit. I didn't want to begin reading from Galatians 5 at that time because I knew getting into it, I wanted to also segue into these other traits that we should have as men. For all of the sisters that join this live stream, um, one of the things that I don't like to do is use foul language, cursing and cussing and all that type of stuff, derogatory language. You'll see in any of my videos that the Most High guides my speech, guides my words. The very first of this B.U.R.B series, I had to get kind of graphic because we were talking about human anatomy, and we were talking about men not allowing ourselves to be distracted by the woman's body or by anything sexual. Not misplacing our purpose or displacing our purpose in exchange for a little sexual proclivity or a sexual satisfaction. Okay, but I don't know where you are in your household dealing with your sons, your daughters, when it comes to maturity, when it comes to your 13, 14-year olds dealing with that subject. So, you're going to deal with that however you deal with it. That subject primarily being brought up was for brothers of age, brothers who have a difficult time with different sexual desires, um, that, of course, are in line with being a man, but at the same time can throw us off from our purpose and how to stand strong as men in leadership capacities, being prepared for marriage. Okay, so let's make that very clear. Okay. I don't normally make a habit out of speaking in that manner, but it aligns up with what the lesson is calling for. Um, Yesterday I talked about Galatians. Well, I didn't mention Galatians, but anyone who knows about the fruits of the Spirit knows that can be found in Galatians chapter 5, reference to that. I brought those fruits of the Spirit up briefly to prepare us for today because being a man is much more than being able to get a job and pay the bills. I think that's why a lot of men feel disrespected in the home. Once they actually become married, they actually start their families, and they feel like they're not being honored correctly. They feel like they're not being respected correctly. And a lot of that has to deal with feeling that being a man stops at just going to work and then paying bills and then watching the game, going to sleep, kicking it with the homies, kicking it with your partners, your bros, your bruh, and then going back to work, paying the bills, and it's a never ending cycle. We're not paying attention to different levels of our existence. We're not paying attention to possibly building outside of that job. We're not paying attention to freeing ourselves from that particular job into entrepreneurialism so that we can have more time to dedicate to our wives and children, right? And I mentioned in that first video, especially, you have some brothers today who unfortunately don't even like the companionship of a woman. Okay. They just don't want to be dealing with no man sexually, but the companionship for most of these guys comes in the form of their partners. But because they not homosexual, they want to go in and then sleep with the woman, sexually deal with the woman, and then dog her out, mistreat her, don't want to emotionally connect with her, don't want to be present for her when she needs him. And then that turns into a never ending cycle as well. So we want to break out of that. And one of the biggest things that I found in my life in order to break out of that is indeed separating from your bros, separating from all your partners, separating from all the yes men, separating from anybody who could steer you away from your family, whether they mean to or not, because you only have so much time in a day. So you want to be present. And the best way to do that is being present. We're going to be reading out of Galatians chapter 5 today. And we're going to be reading from Galatians chapter 5, verses 22 through, probably go down from 22 all the way to 26 and close out the chapter that way. But I thank y'all. Hey, I thank y'all for joining. Whoever's watching right now, shout out to y'all. Shout out to y'all for the 3 likes. I know I never really asked for that until I found out about the algorithm stuff and all that. So I thank y'all for rocking with me to the point where I don't have to ask that. So because I don't have to ask that, now I like to just look at the screen, oh snap, and give y'all a shout out. So thank y'all. Thank y'all for looking out for the video and the channel. All right. But one of the first things that hit me last evening in our walk and journey into righteous manhood was conflict resolution. Okay, conflict resolution. I think that that's a um, big topic. Modern day man. I know we like to focus on modern day women all this time, but let's focus on modern day man real quick. A lot of the reasons our brothers is getting chopped down right now, killing each other, shooting each other, gang, all day long, sliding, riding, whipping, dipping. All of this is because we haven't learned proper conflict resolution. Okay. I was in a situation with my family. Um, I think we were headed out, and it's a lightweight situation, but depending on how you react to certain things, it could be major, right? I was getting the family in the truck. We was headed out. Think we was going into the city, and I'm not talking about the Bay. I'm talking about here in the country because we in the country now, and we got to go into the city for things, right? So I was getting them into the truck, and there happened to be like a wasp or something had made its way into the truck while everybody was getting in, right? Windows were still rolled up and all of that stuff. So I don't know how the Joker got in, but he was in. And I love my wife. You know how y'all women could get sometimes when you see bugs and little critters. Yeah, and get this out of here, and doing all this. She don't want the wasp in her new hair, doing everything. You know how y'all be sisters. Y'all know what it is. Y'all know what time it is. Queen sis stars. So wasps flying around. So the children, the children is back here. They like yeah. And I'm walking up to the side of or the driver's side, to get in. I'm looking at them. I'm like, boys, what is y'all doing? That's the first thing I focus on them. I'm expecting that from the ladies. I said, boys, what is y'all doing? Nothing, Papa, we trying to get this wasp out. I was like, hey, real talk. Calm it down real quick. That wasp ain't finna do nothing to y'all. Calm it down. The more you shaking and going around and acting crazy and flaring your hands, that's what's gonna make it want to sting you. Calm down. Get out the truck and let's see can we get it out. So immediately, children and everybody, my wife and everybody, they was right. And there was a lot of, I'm gonna say, fear is a strong word. I'm gonna say uncomfortability with the presence of an animal, regardless of the size, that has a history of reacting a certain way if it feels threatened. Okay, that's what we'll say. First, without flashing on nobody or nothing like that, but I had to look at the boys a certain way because what I'm doing is teaching them manhood, right? So the first thing that I did, I was focused on them. I said, "Hey, y'all stop that real quick. You little boys. First of all, you stop that. Okay, we're gonna figure out how to get this thing up out of here." So immediately I went into conflict resolution. Okay. And I had to teach them that if you allow your emotions to get the better of you in a situation and you allow the pressure to cloud your thinking, you're gonna spend more time than actually calming down, letting the thing fly around you, get bearings for whatever it is, and then figure out how to get that thing up out of your face. That's why I said this is a small example, but it happens a lot. There's brothers right now. I remember passing a brother who had a flat tire, and I don't know if he had the proper tools or he didn't, but it seemed like he was waiting on AAA, and I just kind of shook my head because I was like, bruh, first of all, if you a man and you in your vehicle, some tools you got to have as a man. You got to have your jumper cables. You got to have a four-way. You got to have a jack. You got to have a spare tire. You got to have a small tool bag with your screwdrivers, some spare nuts, maybe some spare bolts. You got to have certain things with you. This is a must-have whenever you get a vehicle. Those are things that you got to have as a man. So when I saw the young brother, and I was gonna help him, but I seen he was on the phone and everything, and we was already going someplace. And when you got your family, you got to be cognizant of certain things, no matter how much you want to help certain situations, right? But it looked like the brother was waiting on AAA. Beautiful, warm evening. Light was still up, sun was still up, and I had to question myself. I was like, now, if the brother knew how to change his own tire, and he knew that process, that could have been a 15-minute process, and he could have been up and rolling again. But instead, he was frazzled on the phone. He didn't know what to do. He didn't know how to change this tire. And I felt bad for him. But I also knew that it would be a learning experience for him if he actually applied himself to what he needed to do, right? And so what I noticed is because a lot of us men was raised with our mama, we didn't have our daddy in the house. We didn't have access 24/7 to a man that understood that he was actually a man. We was raised more emotional. We was raised to deal with things emotionally based first. And when this is no knock to my sisters, let me disclaimer. Our mamas, our grannies, our aunties did the best that y'all could do to raise us men, to raise us into manhood. Some of us fell through the cracks. Some of us is over effeminate or effeminate. Some of us don't understand what it means to actually be a man, and you did your best. Now, for the sisters who purposefully kept the daddy out the picture and didn't allow the son to get with his daddy, that's a whole nother conversation. And the Most High gonna take that up with you. You know what I'm saying? I'm just keeping it 100. But as far as the daddy who didn't even want to be present, reached out, he didn't want to be involved, this and that, and the mama had to step up, do her best to teach this young boy how to be a man. And now the young man is doing his best in manhood to navigate these streets and to navigate this time. Salute to you, Queen Sister. Okay. But conflict resolution is very important. And what I learned is women go through their emotions to get to solutions. And men are supposed to go through their mental capacities in order to get to solutions. So it's a different approach. If I, as a man, got up there with my family, you call me a goofball. I'd have been no different than them actors on the comedy movies that you see, like the dads, the wayward dads who like they're leading their family. Like first person I thought about was Chevy Chase in those National Lampoon movies. Where he's like a nut. He's goofball. He gets himself into situations and then goofily himself out of situations, or he doesn't get out the situation at all, and the family ends up suffering because of it. Okay, so I would have got to yelling and too, we wouldn't have got to no solution. If something would have happened with my vehicle, and I've had flat tires before, this and that, where I've had to deal with that with the family in the vehicle, obviously. Well, if that's the case, I use it as a learning opportunity to teach the boys live and in action how to not trip, how to stay focused, get to business, always have your tools with you. This is how you take off the lug nuts. This is how you lift up the tire, jack it up. This is how you finish taking off the lug nuts. This is how you take the tire off. You go to the back, make sure your spare is there. You replace the flat tire with the spare. You put the lug nuts on loosely. You drop the jack, and you finish tightening up that tire. And now you take the old tire, hitch it back up where the spare used to be, then you rolling again. And when you get back to where you got to be at home, you hit the tire shop or whatever, and you go and plug that hole. So now you have a spare again. You finish the whole process. So this is why I have to teach my sons. And so I know most people learn from their mamas. And if the mama didn't really learn from her daddy on how to deal with that, then she's going to be frazzled and teach that to her children. And before you know it, it's going to be a situation where that passes on, those responses pass into that child's young manhood and manhood, and then he's doing something shaking around and frazzled and don't even know how to get out of it himself. So what I learned is women a lot of times go through their emotions to get to solutions when men are supposed to get straight to it, straight to the solution. Now, something else that I realized is that as men, we have to be careful around men who harbor ill feelings. Okay, that's another thing that I found to be more feminine in nature. Men who harbor their ill feelings toward another man, that's not a man you should really be around. That's a dangerous dude. Okay, and I'm gonna tell you why. Most men are supposed to be able to keep it 100. This is where we get that 100 from. That means if I got something on my heart, I got something on my mind that I got to tell you or express to you as my brother, I should be able to do that in kindness and meekness, of course. But I should be able to bring that thing to you and keep it real with you, keep it 100, keep it a buck with you, keep it a beam with you. I should be able to talk to you about that thing, and we should be able to get to some sort of dissolution. We should be able to get to some sort of agreement, some sort of understanding about that thing. But if you do something to me that I ain't rocking with, and I harbor that thing and I allow it to build up resentment inside of me, well, I have the strength with my two hands to be able to harm you, to be able to kill you, and I don't like even talking like that, but and vice versa. If a brother got some ill resentment toward me, but he smiled in my face all day, but in reality, he hate me, he building up resentment about me, he not expressing whatever it is he dislikes about me to me, in order for us to get an understanding on that thing. Maybe it was a misunderstanding. Maybe he misconstrued me. Maybe I said something in the moment that he didn't really understand all the way, but that statement that I made and then began judging me off of that statement and resenting me because of that statement. Well, when a brother harbor ill feelings towards you, that's a dangerous brother right there. We done seen all sorts of horrible crimes committed because a brother had ill feeling and resentment toward another brother. That's how the gang, that's how the shootings take place, that's how the chop down get take place, that's how the back dope gets taken place. So conflict resolution is important because of that. Okay, real talk. Let me see, because I had to take some notes on this one because I was like, you know what? It's a few talking points in between the lines that I really wanted to make sure I touched on. Yeah, a man is gonna let you know off the rip, and that goes for another brother, but it's especially important when it's time for you to be married. Your wife may not understand these tenets of connection. She might not understand these tenets of communication. She might have the personality type that it takes a while for her to express herself. Okay. So, what you have to do as a man is you have to be patient with her, and you have to be able to see between the lines. You have to be able to pick up on that energy. Now, I know a lot of women like their man to be able to read their mind. A lot of women like they man to be able to, oh, well, baby feeling like this. Okay, well, let me go on and do this and do that. And to a certain extent, that's a certain love language. We'll talk about love languages at a later time, but that's a certain love language. And when you are involved with a woman, you should be able to pick up on her love language. Okay, you should be able to pay attention to the things that she like, the things that she don't like, cultivate the things she do like, stay away from the things she don't like, be able to communicate with her in different ways outside of just speech. Okay, one of the only ways to do that is to leave Ray Ray and Pookie and them alone, leave Cuz and them alone. And you got to spend time with her. You got to cultivate that with her, but at the same time, don't no woman just want you underneath her all the time. So this is where the balance come in. This is where you have to find your place of solace. This is where instead of going with Ray Ray and Pookie and them and being distracted all day, getting drunk, getting high, and all of that all day, playing the game all day. This is where when you step away from your woman, you going to a nature walk. You going to a preserve. You going outside to till the ground. You going outside to plant. You soiling something. You checking something. You are in a place of meditation. You walking by a stream someplace. You praying. You in deep thought about what it is you learned about her, so that in your relationship, so that you can now apply that new learning to her and see do it work or not. So if you feeling there's somebody in your life that's harboring ill will towards you, or resentment towards you, then you have to figure out what that is. And that's when you have to confront the individual. Now, if the individual ain't your wife, ain't your lady, ain't your children, and you still feel something come from this brother, and he like, nah, bro, we good, but it's just how he said it, and don't sit right with you, that's when it's really time to cut ties with that person and leave him alone, because he more than likely is envious and jealous of you. You have something that he's too afraid to tell you you have, that he's envious of. So that's when you got to cut ties with bruh. You got to cut ties with bruh and love him from a distance, because he plotting and planning on you. That's another way so many of us brothers get chopped down, because we not able to really read the signs. We think Ray Ray and Pookie and them still rocking with us when they been done rocking with us. And the only thing that our proximity has in common right now is them trying to figure out how to backdoor you. Them trying to figure out when to pounce on you. Them trying to figure out when it's good, when it's gonna be cool to set you up. It'll never be cool to set you up, but we know how them streets work. We know it gets ugly out here. So this is talking about building up men, building up righteous brothers, B.U.R.B.S, the B.U.R.B.S, building up righteous brothers for marriage. And when it comes to marriage and you looking at your woman, man, you got to love her as you love yourself. Remember, I told you in that very first lesson, brothers, when you get with that woman and you prepare to marry her, you have to realize that you are going to have to fulfill every role in her life that her family fulfilled in her life before she got with you. That's complex. You got to be her daddy, her brother, her lover. You got to stand in where her mama used to stand in. You got to be her guide. You got to be her leader. You got to be her confidant. You got to be her provider. You got to provide security. You got to provide resources. You got to provide knowledge and wisdom. She might not be a certain place in her life that you are. So you got to be able to lead her patiently into those realms of life. And speaking of that, let's get into the fruits of the Spirit real quick. Galatians chapter 5, verse 22 and 23. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, long suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, temperance. Against such there is no law. And they that are Christ have crucified the flesh with the affections and lusts. If we live in the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit. Let us not be desirous of vainglory, provoking one another, envying one another. You see, the fruits of the Spirit, y'all, is so important, especially as men. Listen, y'all. The fruits of the Spirit again: love, joy, peace, long suffering, gentleness, five, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. That's nine. There are nine fruits of the Spirit that have been identified. And when you apply those fruits of the Spirit to your woman, when you apply the fruits of those of the Spirit to your life before you are led to your woman, I guarantee you, the woman that's for you is going to see the fruits of those spirits radiating off of you. And she's gonna want to choose you out of all the other dudes that she could choose. Because we know women got choices out here. She's gonna choose you. And when she chooses you, that's when you're going to have an opportunity to build with her based off of all of the tenets of manhood that you've learned, and you're gonna be able to lead and guide her. And that's when you're gonna see that submissive woman that everybody talk about but don't seem to see. No, no, no. See, the secret is to that whole submissive woman idea is first, you have to be able to respect yourself. You have to be able to love yourself. You have to be able to move in a way where you recognize your own self worth and your value. You have to have vision. You have to have an idea of your purpose and be willing to sacrifice hanging with the partners and the boys, getting drunk and high all day in order to build up yourself and to build up that purpose into fruition. When a woman sees you doing that, she's going to want to be a part of that in some way, shape, or fashion. And she's going to see your protective qualities. She's going to see that you spend more time into dealing with building yourself up and what your potential family could be, as opposed to building up the next man. How are you building up the next man? By watching LeBron James and Steph Curry play basketball all day, worried about the sports center, worried about the NBA 2K this and NFL 2K that. You building up another man when you do that. And as much as modern society says, "Oh, sis, just let him have his alone time in the man den or the man cave," let him have his alone time, and that alone time turns into more alone time at the job for 8 to 12 hours a day. Then you get home, you tired, brother. Then you only want to be fed. You want to make a little love if that's what it is, and then you want to go back to the game. You only gave her a little piece of your day, as opposed to fulfilling what your purpose actually is. And a woman gonna see that. And if she see that, when she finally catch on to it, she's gonna think twice about if you are worthy to be submitted to. She's gonna think twice about it. That don't count the different ideas that y'all have about which way to go in your life on this life journey. That don't count if you got with a woman or was led to a woman who don't believe the same things you believe or don't know the same things you know, or you still teaching her about what you know in order to see if she's gonna even want to rock with you in life that way when it comes to scriptural understanding, scriptural knowledge, or if y'all don't even deal with the scriptures at all. All of this plays a hand in hand. Okay, so dealing with the fruits of the spirit, you have to take those tenets into yourself. Long suffering and gentleness is one of the most important fruits of the spirit when dealing with your potential wife or dealing with your woman who you want to make your wife or being led to her. Long suffering. Why is long suffering so important? Well, as men of Israel, one of the first things we're supposed to realize is that we have been living a life of sin until we woke up. Okay? The Most High was long suffering that entire time we was acting a fool, cutting up. So if the Most High could long suffer and extend grace and mercy to us, how much more as the head of our household, as the head of our wife, should we be able to extend grace and mercy to her? She's not going to be perfect. She's going to have some issues. She's going to have a past. She's going to have situations where she dealt with a brother before you, and you know they went through whatever they went through, and you're gonna have to figure out how to filter that energy out. You're gonna have to filter that away in order to guide her into the type of woman and relationship that you would like to have with her, and to see her be. So it's gonna be a lot. But during that journey, you're gonna have to be long suffering. You're gonna have to have extend grace and mercy to her the same way grace and mercy was extended to you, especially if you want to be the the leader and guide and man in her life, the image of the Most High in her life. Okay, you're going to have to find love for yourself. You're going to have to find joy for the journey. You're not going to want to get discouraged, fellas. You have to build up your character this way. You're not going to want to get discouraged, even when you feel let down, even when you feel like times is hard, times is rough. This is part of that character building that it takes for a man to actually transition from boyhood into manhood. We live in a microwave society right now where everybody wants the end result right now. Microwaves is even going too slow for some folks. So what you have to do is get back to that slow cooking, marinating. You got to get back to that simmering. You got to get back to that gumbo. You got to get back to them red beans and rice. You got to get back to that thing that's slow cooked. That at the end of it, mwah, it's delicious. And so that's what part of the goal for Burbs is building up righteous brothers. Part of that is to make sure that you understand how to long suffer. You didn't get this far by happen chance. You didn't get this far in your life by no mistake. What you have to do is reflect on your past, bring it into the present, understand the lessons of the present, and carry those lessons into your future. Hopefully, your future include a beautiful woman who you can build a family with. Okay, gentleness. Our women more than ever need gentleness. Our women more than ever need a kind voice. Now, I'm not talking about no punk. I'm not talking about no simp. I'm not talking about no suck L, like we say in the Bay. I'm not talking about no sucker. I'm talking about gentleness. I'm talking about stern gentleness. I'm talking about seeing your woman, seeing the vision, knowing who you are at this point, and being able to gently guide her along the way sternly, not letting up, not giving in, but being stern and gentle. Just like how you have a precious plant, that plant might begin to go off crooked. If the plant is precious now, you don't want to break off none of its limbs, even though you know you got to straighten it out. So you have to be gentle but stern with the plant. You're gonna have to hold the plant and gently move it. You don't want to just be flicking it all around and going bananas with the plant because you'll break it. So there's a gentle approach that you have to instill in your journey and in your walk in order to get and yield the best results, brothers. Okay. Then you're going to have goodness. You have to be an innately good brother. You have to. You have to work on your goodness. You have to be able to make choices that are good. Everybody got choices, just like Brother E40 say, the elder E40. You have to make good choices. You have to be understanding of what it means to be a righteous man. And the way that I learned how to do that was looking into the Torah, looking into the Tanakh, looking into the Holy Scriptures, and instilling those qualities within myself, wanting to emulate all of the righteous brothers that I've seen in the Word, the righteous brothers that I've seen doing what they was called to do, the righteous brothers who was prophesying and who was delivering the word of truth to the children of Israel, to the Gentile nations, those brothers who had every reason to go a different way, but they choose to stay along their path and along the path of righteousness and the journey that they had to take to get to where it was they was called to be. Then you have to have faith that everything is going to be okay, because the one who you were seeking that deliverance from, the one who you are seeking your reward from, shouldn't be another man. It should be the Most High. We don't lean on man's arm. We lean on the everlasting arm of the Most High as men of Israel. And when we do that, and we keep the faith, and we understand that everything happens for a reason, when we understand that all good things are coming from the Most High, when we understand that yes, we might have this way and this path to take and that path to take. But when we take those paths, as long as we realize we're being led by the Most High and the divine will, looking forward and toward the divine will of the Most High, guess what? You can bet your bottom dollar that you're going to be brought out of it shining. You're going to be brought out of it with all of your rewards. But you have to have faith, okay? You have to have faith in the Most High. Meekness and temperance. Meekness. Deal with things from a humilified perspective. Deal with things from a place of humility. When you know you could have responded a certain way, be meek and humble in your response. Don't do the expected thing. The world is the world is gonna tell you fight back. If you was listening to Iceberg Slim and Fillmo Slim and them, he gonna tell you to pimp slap something. He gonna tell you to jack something up. He gonna tell you to make her walk the blade. He gonna make you tell her to do all kind of crazy stuff. But this is your woman. So the idea is to avoid foolish rhetoric, avoid foolish tutelage, avoid worldly tutelage. Leave unto the words and law, statutes, and commands of the Most High. And this is where your temperance comes from. Because the world doesn't, remember I told you, the world wants everything right now. People of the world want everything right now. But temperance only comes through long suffering. Temperance comes from being tried in the furnace of affliction. Okay? Please understand what I'm saying. Temperance is a form of character building. And everybody doesn't have temperance. Temperance is what strengthens you. When you temper something, it is strengthening that thing through heat, a heated process. So when you know you getting heated and you hot and you angry, you must learn how to walk away. You must learn how to you must learn how to breathe. You must find solace in your outlets. Use your gifts and your talents in order to temper yourself as well. Ultimately, men, we have to learn how to provide solutions. Getting frazzled in the moment, getting upset in the moment, allowing our emotions to get the best of us is not going to help us find solutions. Men find solutions. Men not only find solutions, but through the solutions, when everybody else in the family is frazzled and afraid, when everybody else is cold, when everybody else is too hot, when everybody else is scared, that is when you step into your manhood. That is when you begin to exact all of your lessons, all of your training. That is when you prove yourself. That is when you actually guide and lead your family into victory. Okay? So remember, men are solution oriented. Thinking of solutions, we don't have time to fear and be worried, stagnant in those emotions. We allow the present situation or the situation we're presented with to fuel our motivations in finding solutions. Next, we're going to talk about problem solving real quick. Problem solving is very important. When you have a problem with another brother, for instance, you want to get to the bottom of it. This goes back to conflict resolution. Problems happen every day, but solutions to problems don't normally occur. And a lot of times in our communities, we think the solution to a problem is violence. All we're doing is chopping down ourselves. We're removing our rank and file. We're destroying our people by solving problems through violent solutions. Are those even solutions when they're violently based? So what we have to do as men is we have to approach our brothers with that spirit of meekness, not with a hardy spirit. Bro, what you talking about? Hey, bro, I heard you was saying this. I heard you got it with me. What's happening? We don't need to deal like that. Instead, what we need to do is, hey, brother, when you have an opportunity to talk, I would love to talk with you on the one and figure out how we could get to this a solution to this problem that I heard that you had with me. Oh, bro, yeah, man, I do got a problem with you, man. It's I heard you said something about me, you feel me? And I just didn't know how to take that. I didn't think you was that type of brother to be loose lipping things, you feel me? But I heard that so and so, it don't even matter who so and so is. I just heard that you was talking about me. Oh, brother, what was said? What was said that you heard I said? Oh, whoopty whoopty woo, I heard you said such and such. Ah, bro, man, listen, you've been around me long enough to know I don't even speak like that, bro. But I know it's a lot in the air right now. I know it's a lot of tension in the air right now. How long you done known this? How long you was holding on to this, bro, man? I've been dealing with this for the past 2 weeks, bro. On some real stuff on mamas, bro. I've been trying to figure out how to deal with this thing. That's why you ain't heard from me in a minute. That's why you was feeling my energy change. Oh, bruh. Man, I'm so glad you told me this right now, fam. I didn't even say nothing like that. I didn't say anything, as a matter of fact. So whoever told you that was trying to cause a wedge in between us, bruh. We got this project that we working on. Man, you know what? That's why I was trying to figure out why you would say this. Because we was just working on a project together. And now all of a sudden I'm hearing through the grapevine you saying this. Nah, bruh. That ain't even real, bruh. I never said nothing like that. Look, here go the proof of it. Whatever was supposedly have been said or not said. Dang, bruh. Yeah, so and so trying to set us up, trying to set us against each other, fam. All right, man. Well, maybe you need to cut so and so out the equation for a minute till we get this project done. But I ain't said nothing like that about you, family. Problem solving is very important. And as a man, once again, a lot of our anger, a lot of our frustration, it deals with having too much on our plate and not stepping away from it. It deals with being around too many people who got something to say about something we should be going to the most high on. And when we allow our brother, Ray, Pookie, Cuz, bruh, and everybody to have a say on how we should handle something, a lot of times brothers don't even have your best interest at heart. They want to see how you gonna handle it and see if it break you, see if it folds you, and see if it gets you in trouble, just to get you out the scenario, out the picture. So you have to realize that everybody don't have your best interest at heart. Everybody don't want to see you win. You might be close to the goal, bruh. You might be right there close to the finish line. You might be right at your victory. And people see that, and you even see it, but you allow certain input that don't need to be given to you at any time to guide you and lead you a certain way when you should have leaned on the Most High. Another thing that I realized is traits. All right, now this one I thought about it and I had to word it a certain way. So I'm about to read my notes on this one. Have you noticed, brothers, that women like to accuse certain of us as toxic masculinity? Toxic masculinity. I thought about that phrase for a minute and I started laughing to myself because I was like, you know what? Brothers don't never accuse other brothers of being toxic masculines or having toxic masculinity. We don't look at our brother and be like, hey, bruh, that's toxic masculinity. Like, we don't say that. Instead, we say, hey, bruh, chill, bruh, you got some female tendencies. Hey, bruh, you exhibiting some real female tendencies right now. You need to chill out, bruh. That's what we say. We'll be like, hey, bruh, you exhibiting female tendencies. We don't say toxic masculinity. And when I peeped that, this rising connection was made that I hadn't made before today. Okay. Check this out. When women accuse men of toxic masculinity, what they are really saying is, I see a male attempting to exhibit feminine traits. Think about that for a second. When a woman is accusing a man of being a toxic masculinity, a toxic masculine, what she is really saying is, I am seeing a male exhibiting female traits. Check this out. Men can say to a woman, hey, exhibiting toxic femininity, because we want to flip it. Hey, that's toxic feminine traits right there. And vice versa. What we are really saying is, this is a female attempting to exhibit masculine traits. A female attempting to exhibit masculine traits is going to reflect itself as toxic femininity, while a male attempting to exhibit female traits is going to reveal itself as toxic masculinity. Woo! If only we knew that sooner, right? So, what we have to do, fellas, is first of all get in tune with ourselves, and we have to be balanced. Sometimes we got a name from a woman in the game from a woman. We all came from a woman. That's true. That's true. But at the same time, that gossiping, talking how you seen your mama talking about Miss Johnson and them, but then smiling in their face at the church house on Sunday. Mama, wasn't you just talking about Miss Johnson like a dog? He was just dogging Miss Johnson and them out, mama. And now you in the kitchen at the church. Your mama in the kitchen at the church serving plates with Miss Johnson, smiling all in the face. Mama, I thought you had a problem with Miss Johnson. Why is you being buddy buddy with Miss Johnson? You was just talking about her. Well, as a young man, if we see that over and over and over, and there ain't never no explanation, and there ain't never no correction, guess what we gonna do? We gonna begin to exhibit those feminine traits, and it's gonna be toxic. Because now we doing what we saw a woman do, gossiping, and then going to be buddy buddy with whoever we was gossiping about, and not getting to the bottom of why the gossip started in the first place. Okay, so you got to check yourself with these traits. Remember, as you build yourself up as a man, as a righteous brother, you're gonna be dealing with healing, securing, guidance, leadership, and patience. In order to really fulfill those qualities, you have to have a place of solace. This is a must. Just like I said, you have to have your four-way and your jack and your spare tire and a small set of tools in your vehicle with you at all times, as well as your jumper cables. You must your roadside emergency kit. You must have a place of solace. You can heal your own inner turmoil and reflect. A lot of our sisters was raised in single moms homes as well. A lot of our sisters' daddies walked out on them. I know of sisters who are resentful toward men to this very day because they daddy lived 2 blocks around the corner from them and never wanted to deal with them. Or got with a new woman and the new woman had a daughter, and to appease the new woman, he treating that daughter like a princess, but his own flesh and blood daughter is getting treated like Cinderella. So imagine a sister's approval and disappointment as she gets older, bruh. This is where meekness and humility come into play and the long suffering. Because one thing I learned as a man, when you step into that role as husband and you have to be her daddy now, she don't even know what a daddy even operate like. And if you want to be a righteous man and operate as a real man, you're gonna have to teach her not only what a husband does, but also how a daddy is supposed to react and respond to certain situations. And you're gonna have to step in that role for her. And she might be envious of that at first when you are that way towards your own children, towards y'all's children. Because now, for the first time in her life, she sees a man who's serious about being in something that is attached to her's life. She didn't get that from her daddy, but now the children that was birthed through her are an extension of her, and now granddaddy ain't even met the children yet, but you in their life every day. How do you think that's gonna make her feel? She gonna look at the children, and sometimes keeping it 100. She gonna look at them babies, and sometimes she might even resent them. So you because you are the father in their life, and you in her life. So you have to coach her, and you have to be able to identify those feelings because she might not tell you at first. It might be uncomfortable. It might seem weird and strange to her for her to even be a mother, but still feeling that way. And it's natural when a sister haven't had her father, and so many of our sisters haven't had their daddy. Okay, they haven't. In order to get around that and get away from that, sometimes that's why they put they all into the corporate space. That's why they could deal with their boss who signs the checks every Friday. They could deal with that guy, guiding them and leading them. Because 9 times out of 10, if it's a healthy work relationship, he don't want no sex from her. He don't want nothing but his leadership to be obeyed in the job space. He might be a mentor to her in the corporate space. He's responsible for giving her raises and stuff. So the relationship, he don't want no sexual harassment case on him and none of that type of stuff. So that's the only dude that she sees in her life that's like responsible, carrying through whatever his objective is, the corporate mission and all of this type of stuff. That's what she sees. And so you have to be cognizant of that, bruh. And I know some of these things is hard to deal with. Some of these things can be very difficult at the beginning, especially if you want a serious role in her life. But you have to be meek and you have to be humble and you have to be long suffering through that in order to get to that rising, that silver lining moment. You have to be able to take it on the chin. You gotta be tough out here. Your jaw cannot be glass, brother. And I don't mean just literally. Literally, I hope your jaw ain't glass, but you better be doing them jaw workouts. You better be working your neck. Do planks, and when you do planks, your neck like this. When you laying off the side of your bed, hold your head off the side of the bed. Let the weight of your brain weigh you down, and then lift up your brain just like this. Keep on doing that until you start feeling the burn in your neck. You better not have no glass jaw out here. But the point is, I'm talking figuratively as well. Don't have no glass jaw in life. You got to be able to take things on the chin and keep on moving and not allow those things to destroy your mental and to make your heart cold. We've all been through something. If you are a descendant of those free people who was made enslaved and made captive, you are likely going to be damaged goods. But the point is to recognize the damage that you've incurred and to not pass that damage on to the next generation. The idea is to heal from your childhood traumas, to heal from your young adulthood traumas, to heal from your teenage traumas, and to not bring those traumas to your wife or to your potential woman so that you can help her through her childhood traumas, so that you can help her through her teenage traumas, so that you can help her heal. Then, when you are both healed and you understand the process of healing, when it's time for you to come together and it's time for you to raise a family, it's time for you to bring forth a new generation of life, you can do that and keep your children from trauma. Keep your children from going through those same things that you experienced. And when the ills of life end up getting at your children, you'll be in position to help raise your children up, speak life to your children, and help them heal through whatever trauma they incur. But that trauma don't have to be passed on generationally through you. Okay? Next. And we're going to wrap up with this. Brothers, you have to be able to stand on a strong moral compass. Okay? You have to be able to stand on a strong moral compass. This is so important. You have to be do right. You have to be do right. You know, you have to be able to do right when nobody is looking. What guides you when no one is looking? What is that thing that leads you when no one else is looking? When you have every opportunity to do the wrong thing, what is that inside of you that does the right thing? What is it? That's called a moral compass. A lot of us have pushed aside our moral compasses in order to fulfill vain and fleeting desires. That's where we read in verse 26 of Galatians chapter 5. All praises to the Most High. Let us not be desirous of vainglory, provoking one another, envying one another. First of all, I see many parents, both male and female, men and women, provoking their children. That shouldn't be so. Our children are going through enough as it is. And I'm going to get to my point. Our children go through so much daily. We don't know about cyberbullying. Well, our generation, my generation and down definitely knows about it. Parents from Generation X, parents from the baby boomer generation, sometimes they chalk it up to, hey, toughen up, toughen up your skin, which is a necessity, but they don't really understand the connotations behind like the cyberbullying, for instance, and how in the cyber realm, cyber things don't never get deleted and go away. Generation X, even at the tail end of Generation X, when I was coming up, we didn't have access to, like, I had my first cell phone, and I want to say it was like the end of the ninth grade. We started getting them little Nokia phones with the snake on it, the snake game. I don't know if y'all remember that. And my mama didn't even know about my phone. It was a burner phone before burner phones even was out. You feel me? And so we figured out a little code with the Nokias where you could dial this code, hold the power button a certain time, and then your phone will be on until they cut it off, until they get hip to it. So we little hood babies, we figured out all the when Master P came out when I got the hook up, we really had to hook up. Okay. I was wondering where he got that idea from, keep it real with you. But we really had to hook up. So at the end of my ninth grade year, that whole summer, we had cell phones. We was on. My point is, cyberbullying still wasn't even up to date yet. Cyberbullying really started with the advent of the internet picking up. Somewhere around the year 2000, 2001, when the text chat rooms started getting popular. We had chat rooms. Before text messages, we had chat rooms. We had, like, what was it called? Chatterbox, like little chat rooms. We would go to the library just to get on the chat room. Like, real talk. It was the internet wasn't even what it is today. So when the images started being shared and people started being able to take videos without other people noticing and all that sort of thing, that's what I'm talking about for today's age. And so the cyberbullying then picked up in ways that most parents that are 40 plus, they wouldn't even really understand like that. 45 plus, 50 plus wouldn't even understand the connotations behind cyberbullying. And then when you get into the OnlyFans era, all of our people doing something strange for a little piece of change, how would you feel if you went to school one day and you didn't know that your mama was on OnlyFans? You in the 10th grade and you already got it hard at the school. Everybody got iPhones, everybody got Samsungs, everybody got smartphones. How would you feel if one of them little boys in your school came up to you talking about, and they was laughing in the back of the class, right? And then you go over there with, and they keep looking at you. So you're like, "What's up, bro? What you laughing at?" And then they hold up a picture of your mama on an OnlyFans account, and you didn't even know, and that's your mama, and the whole school know about it now. That's the level of cyberbullying that most people ain't even aware of. Okay, so when I talk about having a moral compass, I'm talking about being able to choose right from wrong, even when ain't nobody looking. You have to be able to guide yourself based off of certain righteous tenets and characteristics that the rest of the world really ain't even worried about. And you have to do all of this before you meet and are led to that woman. You have to have a moral compass. You have to be able to decipher between righteousness and wickedness. You don't want to bring wickedness to this blessed daughter of Zion, to this blessed woman that you are being led to. You don't want to do that. Okay. This is very, very important. It's very, very important. So I'm going to continue to speak on this more and more. And like I said, we haven't even got to marriages yet. This is all prerequisite stuff. You have to be able to long suffer. You know, Granny and Big Papa, they was able to be married 60, 70, 80 years, not because they didn't have obstacles and things that they wasn't dealing with. One, they kept their business out the street. Two, they realized that they had a greater purpose together than whatever it was that could separate them. They realized their commitment to one another and they lived in that commitment. Big Mama didn't say a lot of stuff. Big Papa didn't say a lot of stuff when it came to whatever their relationship was. All you knew was as son, all you knew was as daughter, all you knew was as granddaughter, as grandson was that they were still together. And every year until they both transitioned, they was together. You didn't know about nothing else. And so the point is, I'm not saying that Big Papa moral compass wasn't on or off, and likewise for Big Mama. What I'm saying is that they had a level of long suffering and meekness toward each other at the beginning and end of the day. And they were able to somehow reset. And that's why even today, you can see somebody together for, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and then call it quits all of a sudden. I know we see that pattern happen most in Hollywood, but it's happening every day in real time. 54% of the marriages in this country end in divorce. And it's a shame because a lot of times those irreconciled differences, like people like to claim, they little. They little. If a little meekness was sprinkled on, if a little humility was sprinkled in the mix, if a little long suffering and patience and love and joy sprinkled in the mix, real love, real joy, then folks wouldn't be quick to divorce like that. And we have a lot more family units today. Okay? But because folks have removed meekness, joy for each other, love for each other, long suffering for each other, patience from each other, now, oh, you disrespect me, I want a divorce. You treat me a certain way, you flash on me, you be too sharp with me, you don't be this enough for me, or you be this too much for me, I want a divorce. And so we have to get out of that if we want to see our nation build. If we want to see a successful marriage as men, we want to lead and guide our families in the correct way. We have to be able to adopt these tenets into our life, whether we learned them early or not. It's never too late to learn, and it's definitely never too late to learn and apply what it is that you learn. Okay? But you have to start with yourself. This is very, very important. You must start with yourself, and that all I think stems from having a high moral compass. When you have a strong and high moral compass, and you have a desire to be of a certain way. Now, when I say character, I'm not talking about putting on a mask. I'm not talking about putting on a mask. I'm talking about keeping 100. I'm talking about keeping it real. So I'm not talking about wearing a mask in front of so and so and then taking off the mask and being your real self in front of so and so else. I'm talking about being the same way whether you in front of so and so or not. And standing on your tenets, okay? Standing on your truth. When you can stand on your truth, I know a woman think that's sexy. When you can stand on your truth and you can go a different way from the way the rest of the world is going, and you could be a man standing strong on your own, a woman love that. And then when you can take that and not allow her disagreements or not allow her lack of knowledge in a certain thing throw you off, and you can stay firm and help guide her and reel her in, a woman love that. A woman love to be corrected. She just don't like to be corrected by no fool. Okay? A woman love to be guided. She just don't want to be guided by no idiot, by no fool. A woman love to submit. She just want to submit to a real man. She don't want to submit to no suck air. She don't want to submit to no poop because then what did that say about her? She wanted to submit to somebody who's done the work, who's moving in diligence, who understands his purpose, who understands what he's called to do. Even if the seasons change in that calling, he's still looking toward the Most High for what it is this season. The trees change, the leaves change colors every year. But that don't mean that the tree's roots change. That don't mean that the genetic makeup of the tree changed. That just means that the tree is going through its seasons. The tree is fulfilling each purpose, each season that it's supposed to fulfill. In the springtime, the tree is supposed to bring forth fruit or nuts or berries. In the summertime, those nuts and berries is harvested, and now the tree is full of leaves with no fruit. It serves as a form of shade. In the fall time, the tree begins to lose those leaves because that tree is going into hibernation. And if the tree is applying its energy to the leaves, it can die. So the leaves must fall off that tree so that the tree could survive through the winter. And then a new cycle takes place in the springtime again. At the end of winter, the tree wakens back up out of hibernation and it begins to want to sprout the leaves again so that it can produce the fruit that we all depend on. The purpose changes each season, but the calling remains the same. Okay? And so this is what we have to realize. We are like trees to the Most High. We have to identify our calling and realize that each season as men, our purpose in that calling might change, but we have to be willing to adapt. Oh, that's another one. We have to be willing to adapt. Our situations change daily, and we have to be leaders and guides and adapt, not getting frazzled, but looking for the solution that's going to help elevate our family above the problem. Okay, so this is the importance of manhood. Building up righteous brothers for marriage. The B.U.R.B.S. I like that. Building up righteous brothers. The B.U.R.B.S. And when you in the B.U.R.B.S, I'm not talking about nice homes. I'm not talking about them good homes. I'm to actually, ooh, that's a heavy one. I am talking about that good home, that righteous home. I'm talking about you, your avatar, brother. Building up brothers. Don't you build a home? Ooh, that's heavy. Build a home just like they build them homes in that nice neighborhood, right? You building up yourself. You building up righteous brothers. B.U.R.B.S. Oh yeah. Thank the Most High. I'm all juiced about that. That just hit me this early this rising too. So look, y'all. You see the sun is going down now. You see it's getting darker outside. I wanted to leave the brothers, especially, with something heavy to think about and marinate on. And I want you to know something. Everything that I've shared with you over the last 3 days, I have applied to my own life. Okay? I've applied to my own life. Yes, I'm very private when it comes to my family. I am. That's why I haven't seen them on YouTube too much. You seen my eldest boys. You know what I'm saying? You seen them. I had to pull them to the side, ask them if they even wanted to be on the YouTube like that. And even then, I kept them at a distance. You know what I'm saying? Just because I'm protective of my family like that. Wow, this is great info for us, Queen Sister, is being prepared as well. Thank you, Queen Sister, Waking Goddess. Thank you so very much. So, thank you so much for joining today. So, this is what I'm saying. A lot of this, it could be a hard pill to swallow at times because society would tell us that we don't have to worry about these things. Society wants to be the man in all of our lives, wants to keep us as psychological boys, meaning we never reach manhood, we never reach mental maturity, and then we never take the chance on ourselves to actually be the type of man that our women can appreciate. Then we wonder why our women will listen to the boss at work, while women get up there, what's this new thing? Work husband. Oh, hey, you got me twisted. Talking about a work husband. What is that? So when you start thinking about all these different terms that then popped up instead of your husband, instead of the man in your life, and now we have our sisters who are being called modern day women. And this is what I'm gonna say about so-called modern day women. I haven't met a sister yet. Let me be careful in how I say this. Everybody has drive and ambition, or you should. Everybody has a certain calling. Everybody has certain goals. Over the last 40 years or so, our sisters have had to move into like a head of household position, financially speaking. And that's primarily due to a reality that the so called black man is being relegated and removed from places of position, places of manager, boss like placement in the job place that would yield that high level of income that would also reflect him leading a group of people for a corporation. The corporate space today is more geared toward so-called white man on top, so-called white man or white woman underlings, and then figure out how to filter the women, the so-called black women, into that job space, and then be very careful on how they elevate that black woman, putting her through all sorts of different tests and trials just to get to a managerial position, just to get to this position, so that she could feed her family. Meanwhile, the brother might not even get hired to be the janitor these days, okay, in that same corporation, okay? And if he is, he has to deal with a certain stigma of having to watch his wife being elevated through the ranks through that corporate structure, which she will never get to be the CEO or the head in charge because she has a ceiling over her as well. But it's always used in order in order of a form of disrespect, okay? Disrespect over the family structure. See, the white man ain't dealing with that. White man gonna be the head in his household, and he's gonna have the head position. He's gonna make sure his sons have head positions, his cousins have head positions. But when it comes to the control in society, he's not gonna want to see that black man be in a head of position as well, so that he can, as a black man, be in the head of his household and guide his family too. Now, this isn't rhetoric. This is real talk. This is why it's so important for us brothers to be able to utilize the entrepreneurial spirit and to form a network of brothers who are also entrepreneurial minded so that we can deal with each other's services, utilizing each other's services so that our women will have a sense of respect for us again, so that we can then be the providers, the breadwinners, and not only that, but take that confidence of being the breadwinner and transpose it into confidence leading, confidence guiding, confidence in studying, confidence in setting the tone for the family, confidence in true leadership, so that our women will want to submit to us and listen to us and be in a place of mental aptitude where they can depend on us again. All right. Look, it is getting dark outside. All y'all can see is my teeth. Haha. So y'all can tell I brush my teeth and floss my teeth. All praises to the most high. But this is what we gonna do. We gonna end the live stream right here. It's your brother True Jew. You know I love you to life always. You know I want to see the best for you. I want the best for you. May goodness continue to flow through you and to you. May you be a blessing to those who you meet, and may those who you meet be a blessing to you. May you continue to be blessed in abundance with the divine hedge of protection around you always. May your steps be ordered. May you have the grace and mercy of the Most High extended to you in these last days of the last days. May you continue to pray without ceasing. And may you pray that the divine will of the Most High be done not only in your life, but in my life as well. May we continue to build one another up. May we continue to lean on the Most High's everlasting arm in this day and continue to search out for solutions, continue to search out and cry out to the Most High for that grace and mercy, and in doing so, be the benefactors of that grace and mercy and identifying what our purpose and calling is today. Don't give up, don't give in. You was born a champion, you was made to win. Remember to stay blessed, stay vigilant always, and like I like to say, Most time, Mom and Papa willing, I'll be back with another one. But until then,